Alright guys, this is another McCulloch 3516. I had a video of it, but it had some technical difficulties and kind of lost what I had, and then so instead of being able to show you some of the stuff on how we done it, it's already done, unfortunately. So what I have done is replace the oil line. It was shot, so if you got to figure out if you have one, you got to figure out where it goes. It goes right in the side of the tank. This line, it's regular fuel line, but this one I used the thicker, heavier line, and went all right. It was a little tough to get on the nipple, but worked good. It's thicker, more durable. It's thicker, but it's like the smaller diameter on the inside, thicker on the outside. It was put a little bit of 2-cycle oil in there to help slide that on that nipple. And the fuel lines we got in, the carb, I had it apart. I'll show you this first so I can set it up without everything flying apart. I was wanting to show you this on the last one, just in case you have it come apart. This is where your excuse me, your throttle linkage and your throttle and everything is. If it comes off on you, you don't have to stress it. These things, they go back together super easy. So it's part of your throttle. Now this has it's open in the back for your pin up here, so it has a pin it sets on, then it just sits in that groove and just moves up and down. Now your spring, it points straight down on one end, and when you get the hooks, it goes up and then turns up a little bit and hooks to the left. So if that comes off, it's no biggie, because there's this groove right here is where the straight down part sits. Sits just like this. So yeah, no problem. Get it in there. We go. And then you got your lever. Get that on the back. Sits on that pin. It's not as hard as it looks, trust me. There you go. You can see where it's notched out. There's a notch right there. It all sits in place. And that pushes down when you go to hit your throttle. It pushes down, it frees everything up so everything works. So just in case you have that spring pop off on you, it's don't trip out on it. It's an easy fix. So with that, now you gotta make sure your oil cap's off. We'll get our side cover on. We'll get that on. Then I'll show you the primer lines. Get them down and out of the way. You want to make sure it's just like that other one when you got your fuel lines up there. Let's see if I'll go ahead and show you real quick. You want to make sure before you put this side cover on that your fuel lines are in those 2 grooves. Let's see if I can get you a shot of them there without screwing something up. Yeah, if we can get down in there. You want to make sure they're in those 2 grooves. You got your main fuel line in there. There we go. Your main fuel line and your return line. There is 2 grooves right there. You want to make sure that those are in there. If they're not, you go putting this back together, you're going to pinch that line in half. So you want to make sure those are there. Alright. The bad part is the carb. Got it apart. It was clean. The lower diaphragm. I don't have one for this, but I wish I did, because it would have been best to replace it, because it wasn't in the world's best shape. I mean, I've used worse, but I'm hoping it'll work. I did look online and I couldn't really find much for these. I'm sure the kit's out there without a doubt. Yeah, it's a McCulloch, so alright. So there's that. We'll get the screw started. Like the other one, all the screws are T25s. And just about all of them are the same length. Make sure we don't have something pinched up here. Yep. One of the wires came up. There we go. Alright, now we're in business. But all your screws are all pretty much the same length. The ones that are different are down here on the bottom where your springs are at. At least on this saw, they are fine thread, not coarse. So you want to keep an eye out for that. Alright. So we'll do these 3 back ones, then we'll get our handle together. Get our oil cap back on now. Alright. This can be a little bit of a bear. I don't know about this one. I know that out of that reefer one we just done. They can be a little bit of a bear to line up. I think that's it. Get a screw in there and we'll see. That should be it. Let's make sure we got it. Everything looks good and flat. Levers are trying to move, so that's good. Alright. I can finish put the rest of them in a minute. Show you the top. So we got a gap from where all the screws aren't in it yet to suck it up, so we have a gap. Now we have the primer lines. This one is obviously the return line to the tank. Here we go. And we have our carb line. This is the one the fuel is drawn through from the carburetor. Here we go. Decent fit. Now the primer. New primer. So we got, I think the long one should be the feed back to the tank. So here's our short one that'll draw it through the carb. Our long one that'll feed it back to the tank. I should have trimmed that off a little bit. There we go. Just look through your notches. Notches right there. So this one has to turn just like that. Boom. So yeah, line's looking, oh there we go. Okay, so we're good. And there's our choke. So that leaves, here's our top. I'm going to clean that up some before I put it on. Just wanted to give you guys a gist of it there. And oh, actually it should be alright. We'll zap some of these screws in real quick. Make sure we're all good and flush here. And oop. I want to force it. So it acts like, yep, lines are good. So you definitely want to double check. See if it is binding. If it is, we'll find out why. But everything's looking good. Looks like it just needs squeezed together. Yeah, we're good. So we can proceed. I think it's just not going in the hole. Alright, we'll get that one in a minute. I don't want to keep holding you guys up, so I'll take care of all that. It just needs, I just don't have it lined up right, so we'll get that, and we'll take care of some of the plastics and show you how the choke and everything hooks up. So we finish getting these screws in, and then we'll pick it right back up. And apparently that hole already had one in it. I got the side cover on, all that stuff's hooked up, so we'll take care of the carb. Still gotta get the air filter that was in this thing was shot. It's I must have pitched it already. I thought it was still out here, but it was bad enough to where it was falling apart in your fingers when you touched it. So we'll get a new one. Those ones are online order only. None of the stores local, well, at least around us, none of the local stores have them. So I have to order one for it. Takes care of that. It drops down in the back. It's where your air filter goes. Get her snugged up. There we go. Shut lines down. We ain't gonna hit nothing. Yep, so it's good. Choke's working. Now you can test. Make sure your carb and everything's working. It's all working like it should. So we're good. But like I was saying with that carb, I mean, it was clean. I cleaned it all out with carbon choke cleaner. But that bottom diaphragm, it's a little iffy. So this thing definitely hasn't been ran in a while. So we got that. So if we had, we'll just say that it had a new air filter in it. Then you have your top cover. Goes on. Alright, choke lever. It's right there, you just turn your choke up. Goes in, sets just like that. And then you got your top cover. You should have a square metal nut on each side. Alright, so we get that on. Make sure our choke lever is working properly. So it's good. Turning over alright. I still got to get the fuel filter for it. And so let's see. Handle. We'll do the handle real quick. This is where your fine screws come in. Well, one of them anyway. Handle cleaned up pretty decent. So you got how it curves. It comes down around the front of the primer here, so it just drops straight down. Then your curve goes underneath where your spring is at. So you have a spring here in the back, and you got a spring up here on the handle. Those two are these two, where they're fine threaded. Everything else on the saw that I've taken off for the plastic has all been the coarse thread. So we'll go ahead and shoot these in real quick, but they're T25s just like everything else. Camera's in the way, I can't see. Alright, I'll try to get the handle in real quick. There we go. Cool bet. Takes care of that one. I'll get the back lined up. I believe this is part of the anti-vibration. Alright, we'll get that one in a second. Let's get these two in here. Alright. No, I do have it backwards. I'm sorry. Learn by your mistakes. That's why it's fighting me. I'm sorry, I have it the opposite direction. These ones are the coarse. My mistake. I thought. There we go. That's more like it. I thought it was the other way around. Take your time. Like I always say, take your time. Alright, so it takes care of our springs. And there's your handle. So these are your two, because there's two steel or two metal nuts in there that they go into. So these two are your fine thread. It just drops right in. Let's get the one started. There we go. 1 and 2. I still need to do some cleaning to it though. You can see down around here I'm still wanting to get some more of this, the old sawdust and bar oil out of it. So I'm still wanting to clean that up some more. But I want to see if she'll run. If I can get enough light in this thing. The clutch looks like it could definitely be needing replaced here soon. I mean, it's wobbly. It seems like it's about wore out. There's a bunch of deep grooves down in it. But we'll save that for another time. The muffler, I was going to clean it up and paint it, but it's not necessarily a rush job. Just wanting to get it together so I can get it out of the way and see if it runs. And so that'll be it for it. Get some of that off, because if this one or this side, this, you know, you got to put your bar and stuff on. So I still got to get the bar is super dirty. As you can see, it's covered in grime. It's pretty filthy. So the bar, I'll definitely get it cleaned up, get it greased up, and this bar is in pretty good shape actually. It's looked like they actually took the time to flip it once in a while, and you know, like they should. So it's still in good shape. It just needs to get all the garbage off of it. So I have to track down a fuel filter. I could have swore I had one around here somewhere, so I'll find it, get the fuel filter put on it, get some of this off of it, get that bar cleaned up, and we'll finish throwing it together. Alright, here we go. Moment of truth. Got the fuel filter in it. We still don't have an air filter in it yet, but we're going to give it a shot anyway. Let's get her primed up. There's a good chance this thing will smoke. The fuel that's in this is some of the old school stuff mix I had for that old Remington. So I'm just wanting to see if it'll run. So I'm going to try this fuel, and as long as it runs good and everything, or at least decent, we'll I'll drain it out this weekend and put the better gas in it. Yeah. Play around and flood it. Alright, so we're choked. We're on. Has bore oil in it. No, it ain't choked. I thought it was. Try half choke. Well, let's try no choke. Maybe they ain't liking that fuel. Well, maybe she's not liking that gas. Alright, let's take a look. Take a looky look real quick. See what we can see. Sure, it's probably just the fuel. She's priming. Looks like. Try opening her up and we'll get some fresh air in there. See what we can see. Now, we'll lose the screws. And take that off so I don't lose it. Just put on gas in. Maybe it's that diaphragm. It definitely ain't the world's best, but it doesn't look like it's dropping any fuel down in here. Alright. Oh. Alright, well, we'll give her the old, if I got enough in here. Try to prime that carb a little bit and see what we get. See if she'll at least hit. The carb, this must have issues. That's why I was worried about it. And shoulder's about wore out already. We're looking the hell out of something. Fuel. It's been from where I primed it. Yep, she's not hitting the lick unless she's flooded out. Which is a good possibility. And nope, I didn't bring it. So we could dry the cylinder out and try that. And Yeah, try it the old school way. Nut. Alright, let me go get a spark plug socket and we'll yank the plug out. Alright, we'll fire it back up. That's what the problem was. It was flooded out. Just pull the plug, or unhook the wire, pull the plug out, crank her a few times. You'll see the fuel flying. Well, that's not what all this is, but that's from where I spilled it. But you'll see your fluid flying out of your cylinder. Once it eases up, throw your plug back in, put your boot back on, and if you get lucky, it'll start. Thankfully, it started, so see if we can get it to fire back up. As I was saying, this is that other style mix, which, it's not necessarily going to hurt the saw. It might just cause it to smoke a lot more than what it should. That came crawling out of it. I need to clean that saw up. Oh, yeah, if you guys can see that, I can't even see it on the lens. Freaking stink bug came crawling out of it. But see if we can get her to fire back up. I hope. Yeah, I don't think that diaphragm's worth a crap. She's trying. Come on. That got me beat. Try choking a little bit. Nope. She's fighting it tooth and nail. It's like it's bypassing everything, but alright, I'll show you what I was talking about. Shut your power off. This one is a bear. Get off. Come on. We yank our plug out. Come on. There we go. See if we have any excess fuel in there. Yeah, the plug does kind of look soaked. Alright, we'll try that. See what we get now. Hopefully she'll let it run. Just got to figure out what the fuel issue is here. My guess is the carb and carburetor and a better fuel mix would probably help a lot. Power back on. Yeah, she's not doing squat. Alright, since we're sitting here killing ourselves. So, we're going to have to drain that fuel out, do some carburetor work to it, and I think we might have us a good saw after that. That diaphragm, when I get it apart, I'll show you. It was, I let it soak in cleaner to try to ease it up some, but that diaphragm, it was, you could hear it, it was like, you took it out of the carb, making a nice crunchy noise where it was all dried up and been setting forever. But we'll get all that straightened out, and I think once we do, we'll have a good running chainsaw. It ran good there for a second, at least till it ran all the fuel out that was in it and priming it. Damn, I was hoping it would run. She's not wanting to do squat. I just hate giving up on her. I hate using starting fluid. You just get a couple drops in there, see if she'll hit. Nope. And that sucks. Well, at least we gave it a good try. She goes. That carb needs some work, but it runs. So, yeah, it's a win, man. I guess kinda is, but it ain't. So we now, at least we know it needs carburetor or a rebuild kit, whichever I can find first. Oh, where is everything? It's probably too big, but there you have it. It was from that other barn sale, and I'm dropping dirt down in it. I'll get all this on before I lose it. So, what the total fell? So far we put all new fuel lines in it, main line, return line, primer line, all the primer lines, new oil line. It's got a new plug in it, but we still need the air filter and get the correct fuel in it. I mean, it'll run off of that, but it may not want to run the world's best. So, the air filter, definitely gotta get that air filter. So not bad. I mean, oh, look at that. Class is one of them nuts that hold this on, probably fell out. So I have to look for that. So all in all, for coming from a barn sale, and the thing obviously set for years, you got to expect some issues with it. Yep, it did fall out. Hopefully it's down in there. But I'll find that. So you got to expect some issues out of it, and which I was, kind of was. The main thing I always expect is the fuel lines right off the bat. Fuel lines and fuel filter, almost every time. So I'll do that, and I'll track down either a full carb kit or gasket kit, whichever I can happen to find. I kind of randomly looked the other day for a brand new carb for it, and I found one that was on eBay, but it was rebuilt. The guy was wanting $52 for it, and that's not going to happen there. I'm going to get on HIPAA's site and see what I can dig up and not too bad. I mean, if the carb was there, it would run. But that's our whole problem, is carburetor issues. So I'll hunt down what I need, and we'll give it round 2. Thanks for watching, guys.